Dear students, according to Pascal's law, fluid at rest exerts same pressure at all points if they are at the same height. See here, these points are at same height. So here the pressure will be same. Similarly, here all the points are at the same height, therefore they too will be at the same pressure. And all these points are at same height, therefore they too have same pressure. Then what about these three different levels? See, these three different levels are at different depths or at different heights. So definitely according to Pascal's law, the pressure at this level and these three different levels have three different pressures. Then if that is so, as you go deeper and deeper, whether pressure increases or decreases. So that is our next topic of interest, and let us see that. When an object is immersed in a fluid, force is applied on its surface normally, that is at 90 degrees. So this force is normal to this face, this is normal to bottom surface, and these are the directions. When an object is immersed in a fluid, the fluid exerts force perpendicular to the surface of the object. So in this fluid, we are assuming a cylindrical shaped fluid element. This is not a solid object. This is just a part. See, in this beaker some fluid is there, and in this fluid you are considering a small part, and that small part is taken in cylinder shape. So whether it is a solid or fluid, you are considering one element, and that element is immersed in the fluid. Therefore force is exerted on it at 90 degrees to the surface. See, this this is the upper surface. So at 90 degrees means in this direction force is applied. This is the lateral surface. To that at 90 degrees means in this way, around the lateral surface at 90 degrees force is exerted by the fluid. Now this is the bottom surface. So from downward another force is exerted. So you find three types of forces working on the cylindrical shaped the fluid element. Now you see here, these arrow marks are shown with different lengths, and that is according to Pascal's law, because what Pascal says, at same level the pressure will be same at all points, but from here to here depth has increased, therefore here the pressure will not be same. Whether pressure increases or decreases with depth, that we don't know, that only we are going to verify. Anyhow, here the pressure will be different from here, that's why its length is different, and again its length is different. So at different depths the pressure is different, but at this level at all points pressure will be same. So in this direction, in this direction, in this direction, like this, around the circle, you take around the circle and you consider pairwise. Sum of this pressure and this pressure becomes 0. Sum of this pressure and this pressure becomes 0. Sum of this pressure and this becomes 0. In this way, pairwise, when you consider, the net pressure at this level becomes 0. Again at this level also, you consider these pressures are working on the lateral surface, and the lateral is a circle, it is a circle, and on the circumference the sum of the all pressures will be 0. Similarly here also, the sum of all pressures will be 0 when you consider pairwise. So only pressure on the top surface and pressure on the bottom surface, only these two pressures are working. These two are to be considered because they are different, because they are at different levels. Okay, now and we have to consider its weight also. This fluid element has some mass, therefore it will have some weight, and its weight works from its center of gravity. Center of gravity. Now force on top surface. See, pressure is equal to force by area, or force is equal to pressure into area. So here force on top surface, pressure into area, pressure is P1. Area, the top surface area and bottom surface area same. Say that is capital A. Now force on bottom surface. And weight of fluid element. Weight of fluid element. W is equal to mg. Weight is expressed in terms of mass. Let us express this in terms of density. Fluids have density. Density is equal to mass by volume. So mass is equal to density into volume. This is in the cylinder shape, and expression for its volume is base area into height. Say its height is h. And its cross sectional, its base area is A. A into h gives its volume. Substituting this value in this, we get W is equal to rho AH G. Now, under the action of the three forces, the fluid element is at rest. Under the action of these three forces, the fluid element is at rest. Therefore, sum of upward forces is equal to sum of downward forces. What are the upward forces? Force due to P2, that is F2. Therefore, let me write here F2. And sum of downward forces. Here gravitational force is downward and force due to P1 is downward. So P1 force due to P1 is F1. So F1 plus mg. Sorry, W, weight. F2 means P2A and F1 means P1A. W means weight, and that is here rho AHG. Taking this left side, taking A common, A and A gets cancelled. So P2 minus P1 is equal to rho GH. That is, the pressure difference is equal to rho GH. Now let us shift the fluid element upward so that the top surfaces just touches the surface of water in the beaker. Now you see, as the fluid element, cylindrical shaped fluid element moved upward such that its top face coincides with the upper surface of fluid in the beaker, like this. So pressure on upper face is open to atmosphere now, therefore this becomes equal to atmospheric pressure. Here P2 is pressure exerted by the fluid at depth h from surface of the fluid. So here let P2 is equal to P. Substituting these values in this equation, rho GH. So here P minus P, this is fifth equation, and P is equal to PA plus rho GH. So pressure exerted by fluid at depth h is equal to sum of atmospheric pressure plus pressure exerted by water element with height h. So this is atmospheric pressure and this is water pressure. This water pressure is called as gauge pressure. And this is called atmospheric pressure. And this is called, let me write here. See here, this is atmospheric pressure. PA is atmospheric pressure. Rho GH is pressure exerted by the water column, and so atmospheric pressure and water pressure both are working collectively on this level. Therefore, we take sum of these two. So sum of these two is called absolute pressure. So absolute pressure is taken by P. This is PA and this is rho GH. So we have calculated absolute pressure at depth h. At depth h. The excess of pressure P minus PA at depth h is called gauge pressure. Now, looking at the expression derived, you can say at a level the pressure exerted by the fluid depending upon what? See, atmospheric pressure a constant, density of fluid taken fluid constant, G value constant, so H. So if H value increases, pressure increases. As you go deeper and deeper, H value increases, so pressure increases. So in a fluid, if you go deeper and deeper, pressure increases. Let us consider the U-shaped tube. and it is having two ends open to atmosphere, and here this is closed here. In this arm, the height of the water column is more. In this column, height of the water column is less. And just now we knew that pressure exerted by fluid is directly proportional to height of the column. P gauge pressure P minus PA is equal to rho GH. That is gauge pressure. Gauge pressure is equal to rho GH. Rho and G constant. So gauge pressure is directly proportional to height. Since here height is more, here gauge pressure is more. Here height is less, gauge pressure is less. But here the atmospheric pressure is common. Here and here both are common. Okay, now if we open the tap here, then immediately water moves from left arm to right arm, and when water levels become equal in both the arms, then flow of fluid stops. So this you already know. Here one diagram is given here. This is illustration of hydrostatic paradox. It has taken three different containers. The shape different and size different. This is the smallest container holding small amount of liquid, and this is holding large amount of fluid, and this is medium. And here at the bottom the surface area is here minimum, here medium, here large. So in so many ways they are different, but in the three containers the water level is same. What does it mean? Since they are interconnected and the water level is same, it means here at the bottom surface these fluids are exerting same pressure. They are exerting same pressure on the bottom pipe, bottom surface, because they are having same height. But to our common sense, it is not appealing. Why? Means here small amount of liquid is there. It should exert small amount of pressure on this point, and compared to this here liquid is more, so here more pressure must be there, and compared to these two here large amount of liquid is there, so here large amount of pressure must be exerted. Like that we think, but it is not true. The pressure exerted on the bottom surface depends only on the height of the fluid column. What is the pressure on a swimmer 10 meters below the surface of a lake? So the expression for pressure is on the surface of the lake atmospheric pressure will be there, and pressure exerted by the water is called gauge pressure. Atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure gives you absolute pressure. Now let us note the data. Depth is given. Rho value. In a lake water is there and its density is 10 power 3 kg per meter cube. G value let us take 10. Now atmospheric pressure, 1 atmosphere, because at sea level we are taking sea level atmosphere. 1 atmosphere is 1 into 10 power 10 pascals or Newton per meter square. Substituting the values, sorry, here it is 5, 10 to the power of 5. 1.01 atmosphere is equal to 1.01 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals. Ten to the power of 5 pascals is equal to 1 atmosphere. Therefore, this is equal to 2 atmospheres. So, from this problem gives us very valuable information. Just at a depth of 10 meters, see, on the surface of the lake, the pressure is 1 atmosphere, and at a depth of 10 meters, the pressure is 2 atmospheres, doubled. The pressure is doubled just for a depth of 10 meters. So, if we go to an ocean or sea, and if you go deeper and deeper, the pressure will be enormous inside the oceans. And inside oceans, submarines move, and the submarines are designed to withstand the large pressures under the depths. Now let us look at the mercury barometer. This instrument is devised by an Italian scientist, Torricelli. What he did, he has taken a large glass tube, one side open and another side closed. He filled the glass tube with mercury, totally filled up with mercury. He closed its mouth with his thumb. He inverted the tube and he immersed the open tube in the mercury which is poured in a beaker. In a beaker he has taken some mercury and he kept its mouth immersed in the mercury in the beaker. Then he removed his thumb. When he removed his thumb, some of the mercury fell into the beaker. Some of the mercury fell into the beaker. And corresponding to that amount, you can see here empty space. In this empty space, there is nothing. That's why this is called Torricelli vacuum. Torricelli vacuum. Now, we measure height of the mercury column from surface of mercury in the beaker to surface of mercury in the tube. So this is height of the mercury column. And here you will find A and B. These are 2 points taken at same level. A is a point taken inside the glass tube, and B is inside the glass tube at the surface. See here, mercury surface in the beaker. That point is B. B is a point on the surface of mercury in the beaker, and A is a point at the same level inside the glass tube. So, one thing, these 2 points are at same level. So, according to Pascal's law, pressure at A and pressure at B will be same. Pressure at A and pressure at B will be same. That is, you can write like this. Pressure at A is equal to pressure at B. Now, so this is according to Pascal's law. Now, pressure at A means at this point, who is causing pressure? The liquid column. So, the pressure the gauge pressure exerted by the mercury column is rho gh. Rho gh. And here the pressure on this point is it is, since it is open to atmosphere, so on this point atmospheric pressure is working. Atmospheric pressure. So in this way, see, atmospheric pressure is equal to rho gh. Rho is density of mercury. G value we know, H value you can measure here. So substituting the values, you can find atmospheric pressure at this place. Now let us consider the open tube manometer. Here you find U-shaped tube and its both ends are open. Both ends are open and a liquid is taken. Since both ends are open, here you find in two arms the liquid column is at same level. And here the liquid chosen is, see, in case of mercury barometer, mercury was chosen, and here you can choose mercury or any other liquid. So which liquid is to be used, that depends upon the pressure requirement. If you want to measure low pressures, low density liquids are used. Why means here you can see gauge pressure. Formula for gauge pressure is rho gh. The pressure exerted by a liquid column is rho gh. See, rho is density of the fluid. If density of the fluid is low, gauge pressure also low. If density is large, pressure also large. So to measure large pressure differences, high density liquids are used. To measure small pressure differences, small density liquids are used. See, previously we considered mercury barometer. The density of mercury is very high. Why means atmospheric pressure also large. That's why we used high density fluid here. But now we use this open tube manometer to measure the pressure exerted by a gas. A gas will be given and you have to measure its pressure, and that is very low. Therefore here the liquid used is low density liquid. Okay, so initially actually the open tube manometer is a U-shaped tube with both ends open, and when both ends are open, the liquid columns will have same height in both the arms. But now what we do, we connect the left end to the gas tank, So this is the system, gas tank. So when you connect the left end to a gas tank, so the gas enters into this arm and presses the liquid column. So this rises, this moves down, So in this way we get this diagram. When you connect left arm to a gas tank, the gas exerts pressure on fluid in the left arm and you get this step. So now what we do, to measure the pressure exerted by the gas, we choose 2 points at the same level. One point is where gas ends and where liquid starts. Exactly at the same level, here another point is chosen. So here on this point A, pressure exerted by gas, and on this point B, atmospheric pressure is working and this liquid pressure is working. Now according to Pascal's law, pressure at A is equal to pressure at B. Pressure at A is pressure exerted by the gas, and pressure at B is atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure. Now atmospheric pressure we know with using mercury barometer. Rho, density of the liquid will be given, G value you know, H here you measure. So substituting the values you can find the pressure exerted by the given gas. And here this is a constant, rho and G is a constant. If next time if you take another gas and if its pressure is more, then H value increases. So the pressure exerted by gas is directly proportional to H. More the height, more the pressure. The density of the atmosphere at sea level is 1.29. Density of the atmosphere is given. Assume that it doesn't change with altitude. That is, around Earth, atmosphere is there. As you go higher and higher, actually density of the atmosphere decreases. That's why the mountaineers carry oxygen with them. But here you are assuming that density doesn't change with altitude. Okay. Then how high would the atmosphere extend? That means suppose this is the sea level, suppose, and on the sea level you are taking air column. So this is the air column. This is the height of the air column. So the pressure exerted at sea level is P is equal to rho GH. Rho is 1.29, G value say 10, and height that we don't know. And here at sea level atmosphere is exerting pressure, and that is atmospheric pressure, and atmospheric pressure is 1 atmosphere. 1 atmosphere means 1.01 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals. 1.01 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals. Okay. So this is at sea level. This value is at sea level. So from this we get H value. So this is nearly equal to, see, 7,900 means nearly equal to 8 kilometers. At a depth of 1000 meters in an ocean, what is the absolute pressure? First absolute pressure is asked. Absolute pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure plus gauge pressure. P is equal to atmospheric pressure is PA, gauge pressure is rho GH. So here absolute pressure at what height is asked? 1000 meters. At 1000 meters it is asked. Okay. Atmospheric pressure at sea level. PA is equal to 1 atmosphere, and that is 1.01 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals. Rho means here this is ocean. So density of sea water. Density of sea water is given. G value, let us take 10, and height, the depth is given 1000 meters. Substituting these values in this equation, we get at this absolute pressure as, substituting the values, we get 104.01 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals, or this is equal to 104.01 or 104 atmospheres, because 1.01 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals is 1 atmosphere. Now absolute pressure over second. Gauge pressure is asked. Gauge pressure means rho GH. Here again substituting these values, 0, 1.03 into 10 power 3, 10, 1000. So we get the gauge pressure as 103 into 10 power 5 pascals, that is equal to 103 atmospheres. Now another question is asked here. Find the force acting on the window of area 20 centimeter into 20 centimeter of a submarine at this depth. The interior of which means submarine. Interior of submarine is maintained at sea level atmospheric pressure. This is very important. Inside the submarine, there is some pressure, and that is equal to sea level atmospheric pressure. Now, to do the third one. In the third one, what is asked? Force exerted on this window. See, this is our submarine. It is having a window of 20 centimeter length and 20 centimeter width. So how much force is exerted on this window? That is asked. See, we know force is equal to pressure into surface area. This area can be found. Now we want pressure. So for that purpose, see, I have written. See, on this glass, on this window, pressure from outside. Pressure on window from outside. How much? See, from outside means here atmospheric pressure. Here pressure on window from outside. Pressure on window from outside means here atmospheric pressure working, and here to here gauge pressure working. So that is PA plus rho GH. Now pressure on window from inside the submarine. From inside the submarine, how much pressure is there? In the problem it is given. Inside the submarine, PA pressure is there. Inside the submarine, the pressure is equal to sea level atmosphere. So PA. Now, so what is the net pressure on the window? Net pressure on window. So net pressure on window is outside pressure minus inside pressure. So PA gets cancelled. Rho GH. So that is nothing but gauge pressure. And we already calculated just now the gauge pressure. How much it came? It came 103 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals. Okay. Now force. Force is equal to pressure into area. So pressure is 103 into 10 to the power of 5 pascals, and area. So its area is 20 centimeter into 20 centimeter, that is equal to 400 centimeter square. That is 400 into 10 power, centi means minus 2, whole square. So here you write 400 into 10 power minus 4 meter square. So we get the value 4.12 into 10 power 5 newtons. Consider a horizontal cylinder with a piston and 3 vertical tubes at different points. The pressure in the horizontal cylinder is indicated by the height of the liquid columns in the vertical tubes. It is necessarily the same in all. If we push the piston, the fluid level rises in all the tubes. Again reaching the same level in each one of them. This indicates that when the pressure on the cylinder was increased, it was distributed uniformly throughout. This is coined as Pascal's law for transmission of fluid pressure, and its statement is given here. Whenever an external pressure is applied on any part of a fluid contained in a vessel, it is transmitted undiminished and equally in all directions. A number of devices are based on the Pascal's law. Some of them are hydraulic lift, we will be considering these two. One is hydraulic lift and another is hydraulic brakes. In these devices, fluids are used for transmitting pressure. Now let us consider hydraulic lift. See, here you find one cylinder, here you find another cylinder. This cylinder is having lower cross sectional area and this cylinder is having larger cross section area, and these two cylinders are interconnected, and here force F1 is exerted on the small cross section area A1. Then the pressure becomes, so here pressure is equal to normal force by area. So here this much pressure is exerted on the fluid. So according to Pascal's law, this pressure is undiminished and equally transmitted to all parts. So here these are the valves and this is the next piston. So on this piston, this pressure is exerted. Now see, we know that pressure is equal to force by area, or force is equal to pressure into area. Okay, so this P1 pressure, P1 is equal to F1 by A1 is transmitted to all parts. So the same pressure is exerted on this piston also. So now, so how much force is, so with this pressure, how much force will be working on this? If you want to know, you use force formula. So here force formula is F2. Force on the second piston is F2, and pressure working on this is this pressure. This is transmitted to here. So here P1, and its cross sectional area is A2, and P1 means F1 by A1. This is A2. So here how much force is working on this? So now with an example we can understand very well. So let us assume that F1 is 10 newtons and A1 is uh, here cross sectional area formula is pi d square by 4 or pi d1 square by 4. Let here the diameter be 10 centimeters suppose. Then A1 becomes 3.14 into 10 square by 4. It means 100 by 4 means 25. This is 70, roughly 75 centimeters square here. And here suppose here A2, to find A2, pi d2 square by 4. See here, if you look at the diagram, this diameter is roughly double this. So let us think here the diameter is 20 centimeters. Then area becomes 3.14 into 20 square by 4. So here you get here 400. So we get 300 centimeters square. Now, so here let us substitute the values. F1 value is 10 newtons, A1 value 75 centimeters square, A2 value 300 centimeters square. That is equal to 40 newtons. F2 is equal to. See here in this piston we have applied just 10 newtons of force, and here the force F2 has become 40 newtons, that is 4 times. So how many times you can increase this force here? That depends upon this ratio. If its cross sectional area is double its cross sectional area, here the force will be doubled. If its cross sectional area is 3 times its cross sectional area, this force will be increased 3 times here. So in this way the ratio between this cross sectional area and this cross sectional area, that can be called as mechanical advantage of this device. So we can say A2 by A1 as mechanical advantage. This can be called as mechanical advantage. Example 11.5. Two syringes of different cross sections A1 and A2 and lengths L1 and L2 filled with water, connected with a tightly fitted rubber tube filled with water. Suppose this is one syringe, this is another syringe, and these two syringes are connected by a tube. Suppose diameters of the smaller piston and larger piston are, so here D1 is 1 centimeter and here D2 is 3 centimeters. Find the force exerted on the larger piston when a force of 10 Newton is applied to the smaller piston. F1 is given. F2 is equal to how much? So here according to Pascal's law, pressure here is equal to pressure here. That is P1 is equal to P2. P1 means what? F1 by A1. And P2 means F2 by A2. Now F2 is asked. So F2 is equal to F1 by A1 into A2. Now A2 by A1. See here A is equal to pi d square by 4. Therefore A2 by A1 is equal to this gives cross sectional area is directly proportional to d square. Therefore A2 by A1 is equal to d2 square by d1 square. or d2 by d1 whole square. So here you can write F1 into A2 by A1 is equal to d2 by d1 whole square. So F1 is 10 newtons, d2 is 3 centimeter, d1 is 1 centimeter, centimeter gets cancelled. So we get 90 newtons of force here. See, here 10 newtons of force and here the 10 newtons of force is exerted here, and here the force available is 90 newtons. Okay. Now what else is asked? This is the first part of the problem, and the second part is, if the smaller piston is pushed in through 6 centimeters, how much does the larger piston move out? See, here the smaller piston moved by 6 centimeters, and this moves up by how much displacement, that is asked here. So here if it moves by some displacement, so the water displaced, the volume of the water displaced here will be equal to here and here, because the water inside is neither pumped out nor outside water coming in. Here the water will be fixed. Therefore the volume of the fluid displaced downward will be equal to the volume of the fluid displaced upward. So let us write. Here the pistons are in the cylindrical shape, and for a cylinder the volume is base area into height. So volume is equal to A into H. Okay, here see, the volume of water displaced downward means here area is A1 and downward displacement is say Y1, and here cross sectional area is A2 and upward displacement is Y2. So in our problem this displacement is given, that is 6 centimeters. Y1, here the displacement is given 6 centimeters. Here the displacement is asked, that is Y2 is asked. So here Y2 is asked, therefore from this equation Y2 is equal to A1 by A2 into Y1. So A1 by A2 means here D1 by D2 whole square into Y1. D1 is 1 centimeter, D2 is 3 centimeter whole square into Y1 is 6 centimeter. So that is equal to 1 by 9 into 6. So that is equal to 0.67 centimeters. Example 11.6. In a car lift, compressed air exerts a force F1 on a small piston having a radius 5 centimeters. Radius is given R1 5 centimeter. This pressure is transmitted to a second piston of radius 15 centimeters. If the mass of the car to be lifted is 1350 kg, so mass calculate F1. F1 is asked. What is the pressure necessary to accomplish this task? Pressure necessary. Pressure is asked. Pressure also asked. G value 9.8. Take G is equal. Let us take 10 only for our convenience. Okay. Now first we concentrate on the left part. Here according to Pascal's law. Pressure here is equal to pressure here. That is P1 is equal to P2. This is Pascal's law. This is Pascal's law. So here P1 is nothing but F1 by A1. And P2 here is nothing but F2 by A2. So F1 is asked. So we write from this F1 is equal to, see, first P1 is asked, no? So okay, let us write F1 is equal to, take this A1 that side, F2 into A1 by A2. So here cross sectional area is equal to pi r square. That is, A is directly proportional to r square. Therefore, A1 by A2 is equal to R1 by R2 whole square. So here we write F2 value, how much? See here F2 is equal to the weight of the car. So the weight of the car, let us calculate here. F2 is equal to mg, that is weight of car. So what is the mass of the car? 1350. G value 10. 13,500 newtons. Let us write here 13,500 newtons into, and here A1 by A2 is R1 by R2 whole square. R1 is 5 centimeter and R2 is 15 centimeter whole square. Centimeter cancel, 5 1 ja 5 3 ja. So 13,500 into 1 by 9. So we get, so by dividing we get 1,500 newtons F1. See, to lift this much heavy car, just 1500, 1/9 of this force is enough to lift the car. By making use of Pascal's law, it was made possible. You are lifting a car of weight 13,500 newton by just applying a force 1500 newtons. Okay, now pressure is also asked. P1 is also asked. P1 is nothing but F1 by A1. So F1 we got. So P1 is equal to F1 by A1. 1500 divided by A1. A1 means, see, let us calculate here, pi R1 square. So 3.14 into R1 value 5 centimeter. So 5 into 10 to the power of minus 2 whole square. So substituting this value here, we get pressure also. Here pedal is there. When you put your foot on the pedal and you press it, here master cylinder is there and this is the master piston. When you press the pedal by lever system, this piston is moved inside the master cylinder or main cylinder. So inside brake oil is there. This brake oil is pushed in to the tube, and here the oil, some of the oil comes this side and the remaining to other wheels it goes. Let us consider a single wheel. So the brake oil enters into the slave cylinder. To this slave cylinder there are two pistons. This is P1 piston, this is P2 piston. So when the oil enters here, enters and apply pressure on these two pistons, then the two pistons move apart. The two pistons move apart. So this is brake shoe, this is brake shoe. So when the pistons move apart, the brake shoe comes in touch with inner rim of the wheel. This touches this rim, this touches this rim. Because of friction between rim and shoe brake, the wheel is stopped. And an important advantage of the system is that pressure set up by pressing pedal is transmitted equally to all cylinders attached to the four wheels, so that braking effort is equal on all wheels.